Coach, you can't start off coughing before we go live. What is up, WTF Nation Radio? We are live from an undisclosed location today, Sunday, the 4th of June of 2023. We have gone through, we are now in the 6th month of the year. To me, this year is flying by. Coach, introduce yourself.
What do you hear? What do you say? Got another tall boy for everybody out there in the audience, cracking it open right now. And we're going to play a little bit of a game tonight.
Oh, we got a game starting off the rip, man. Hey, go ahead and introduce the game there, Coach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody listening right now, this game involves you. The game is when will the edibles hit? Ladies and gentlemen, a 30-minute break we had from tonight. I was a little bit lonely, so I figured, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab a couple edibles. And my goodness, I have taken, to ensure that I know it's going to hit, I have taken 3 so far just before we started this. So for tonight, it's for tonight only, we're going to play the game. Find out when you can tell Joe's hit that. Oh shit! Coach has already gone ahead and broke kayfabe already. When Coach has the edibles hit, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the game tonight. As I've watched the Yankees and the Dodgers, as well as Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
I love it, my man. I love it, Coach. Well, hey, let's get the marketing and the boring stuff out of the way. We are streaming across multiple platforms. You will find us at WTF Nation Radio on most platforms. That's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are also streaming live at U.S. Army WTF Moments over on Facebook. Just do me a favor. All right, I will tell y'all where I am located at while I'm on vacation. Y'all don't know that. I titled the show while on vacation. I am on a small vacation visiting family and loved ones. I literally rolled up at 7:58, walked up, said hey to everybody, and then hoped that the internet was strong enough to go live. So do me a favor. Shout out where you're watching the stream from. If I get enough people, let's say I need at least seven people to let me know where they are watching the stream from, and I will state where I am on vacation. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, and we got people. Hey, hold on. Show your face. Hey, this is my lovely cousin back here. This is the lovely family.
I feel like you're talking about the wrong one. I ain't the love
he does sports as well. He coaches. He's been pretty much doing sports his entire life, and I'm glad that they are.
Now we know where all the good looks in the family went to.
Shout out the baseball league.
Yeah, I'm going down. Like that's how it goes.
All right.
But here's a lovely one.
Hey.
Hey.
We got my family and loved ones chiming in. That is baseball, softball, volleyball. No. She does a lot.
That's right. You're talking about me. Not you, me. I do a lot.
Hey, I appreciate my family popping in. So this is going to be a good time. I'm going to be here for the next 4 or so days. My daughter did not want to come with me. Who turns down an opportunity to spend time at the beach for a couple of days? Make that make sense. I don't know if I'm raising them right, y'all. So
Vampires.
So let's acknowledge the early people in the screen. We got my man Kaz in the building. Said, "Yay, sports! Salute to you, man. I missed your show this Friday. This every other week that you do. It doesn't work for me, and I'm the one that matters. All right. We got Michael David Watts in the building with 4 emojis. I'll take all of the emojis. My man David Cunningham is in the building. Hey, keep these sports updates. The room that I'm watching or that I'm streaming out of right now does not have a TV, so I'm relying on Coach and my man David to give us the updates. All right, we got Charles watching out of GA. We got David Cunningham. He says Southern California. That's 2. I need at least 6. All right. Michelle early said watching from home. I'll take that. That's 3. Victoria Menabat said, I admire all of you there. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Victoria. And the family got a hello from Kaz. We got my man Pete. Pete, shout out where you are watching the stream from. You will be 4. We got Kaz is number 4 at Texas. 2 more people, and I will reveal where I'm located at. So enough of that. I'll be monitoring the chat.
He could just go ahead and tell us what Greek restaurant he's working behind the spit on right now.
Oh man. Hey coach, we didn't have a show last Sunday.
Last Sunday, yeah.
Last Sunday was the holiday weekend. It was Memorial Day, where us here in the US honor our nation's fallen. What did you do over last weekend, coach?
Well, last Sunday, I decided that when we didn't have any show, I was just going to go ahead and I was going to watch the greatest day in motorsports. So, got up around 6 o'clock or so, my normal time of getting up. Turned it to ESPN, watched the Grand Prix of Monaco, Formula One racing. By the time that was over, took the dogs out, did some little errands around the house, got some lunch, and pulled up right in time for the Indianapolis 500. And that was a phenomenal daggone race. As soon as that race was over, I wanted to turn it to the Coca-Cola 600. Well, they were rained out until Monday. So you know what I did? I got my family up. We took an hour ride south to Florence, South Carolina, and my wife and my youngest son got introduced to Buc-ee's.
Ooh.
So we went to Buc-ee's.
Hey man,
you know, Buc-ee's is the shit.
Buc-ee's is an experience. All right, tell the people that are watching who may not be familiar what Buc-ee's is.
All right, first off, if you do not know what a Buc-ee's is, you're more wrong than 2 altar boys kissing behind a church in front of the priest on Sunday afternoon. All right, let me go ahead and get you all correct. Now, Buc-ee's is a convenience store gas chain. And by the way, Denver just hit a 3. They were up 30-29 on Miami with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. So Buc-ee's is like a Walmart-sized convenience store, gas station. You go in there right off of whatever interstate you are around Texas. There's a couple around 95. There's a couple in Tennessee, but they're slowly but surely spreading westward and eastward. But you go in there and it's nothing like you've ever experienced. About 100 gas pumps, and I kid you not when I say 100 gas pumps are there. You go into the store and there is somebody who's getting paid to put a smile on their face and tell you, "Welcome to Buc-ee's." And the first thing you go to is you notice how big it is, but you also notice that there's a big sign that shows where the bathroom is. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, they have by far the cleanest bathrooms of any gas station anywhere along the interstates that you stop at. It don't matter which one you go to. You can go to the 4 Hilton of shitters, and it still wouldn't be as clean as the Buc-ee's is. Then you go in there to Buc-ee's for the convenience store, and my God, they have absolutely everything. They chop brisket right in front of you for their brisket sandwiches. They have a bakery in the back that has a daggone deli counter full of beef jerky that you can buy by the pound. They have every type of chip, drink, nut, candy, whatever you want. It's all right there. You can grab whatever you want, including their own kind of brand. And then on the other side, they've got an entire daggone like clothing and accessories and all this other stuff section. Man, you want to buy a grunt style shirt at the same time you want to buy your camping gear. At the same time, you want to buy a stuffed beaver. And if you want to get that stuff for your wife, you know, the candles and all the other essential oils and that crap that makes her smell good when she takes a bath, you can go ahead and get that there too. My God, it is a phenomenal place. Everybody needs to go at least once.
Yes. Hey, the first time that I walked into a Buc-ee's, it was a little bit disorienting because it's huge. First of all, it's huge. And now with the advent of electric cars or whatnot, you also see a whole line of Tesla charging stations and stuff as well. But I mean, if you need a safe place to stop and you're traveling with your family and loved ones, if there's a Buc-ee's, stop at Buc-ee's. Get the Buc-ee's experience.
You can camp out in a Buc-ee's parking lot and they probably won't give a shit.
Yep. Yep. And it'll be a good time. The last time I stopped at a Buc-ee's, I was walking in with somebody and it was their first time. And I stopped to take a picture of it. And somebody else as well was like, yo, this is, I don't know if I should go in. My anxiety is keeping me from walking into into that place. And I was like, oh, you'll be fine. Go on in, get yourself the Bucky's experience. So, Coach, we are one of several shows here at WTF Nation Radio. Here at the Sports Bar, our moniker here is simple. In the Sports Bar, you don't just talk about sports, you also talk about real life. That's what we do over here. That is our show moniker. But there are several other shows here at WTF Nation Radio. If you are if you aren't new to what we offer over here and all of the different shows, then you already know these shows and the lovely host. But if this is your first time watching, okay, and this is the lovely face with the Alabama hat that you see over here, Coach, why don't you give the viewers and listeners, as this also goes out on all podcasting platforms, a taste of what we offer here besides the Sports Bar at WTF Nation Radio?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments bringing WTF Nation Radio is live to you 6 nights a week from 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, going usually about 2 hours. That is every Sunday through Saturday. We kick the week off on Mondays with the Monday edition. That is starring Ice and Shipwreck. They will talk about what's happening around the world, get into some politics, get into what's happening in the military, talking shit, saying what's on their mind, getting it free flow straight from you guys within the military and the veteran community. That comes every Monday. On Tuesdays, it is our boy Mike Carrasquillo, CQ, bringing you another episode of the award-winning Pop Culture Warrior. And ladies and gentlemen, his rotating cast of co-hosts. In fact, actually, what's his name? Mike's the one who's been on there for the past several weeks. So I guess we're about to make him we're going to call him a continuing guest host. He's like, he was like, what's his name? Jay Leno when what's his name was on when Johnny Carson was running the Tonight Show, or what was her name? The one that used to do it, the old woman.
Oh man, I'm young. I don't know.
All right. She used to do the fashion show on E. Daggone, I cannot.
Somebody watching might know.
Somebody watching might know. We're talking about the old guy, the old woman who comedian Joan Rivers. That's who it is. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I know the name. Yeah, not familiar with it, but I know the name.
Yeah, Mike's now like the Joan Rivers of Pop Culture Warrior, and he's coming every Tuesday as well. Going into Wednesdays, it's our boy and our girl, Radar and TZ with the Smoke Pit. King was on there 2 weeks ago. I've been on there. If you have not been on there or have not checked it out and been in the comments section, it is a 2-hour bullshit session where you're just going to want to grab your cigarette, light up, and go ahead and talk about whatever is happening on your mind, and all the bullshit that we face and all the real good stuff that we face. Soldier Girl Coffee was on that last one that they had out there. And by the way, we're now looking at 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Denver is up 39-32 on Miami. Ooh. Oh, yes. Oh, and it's about to be 41-32 because we just got a fast break and one. 40. Oh, yeah, it's going to be. That was a damn good one. Murray had a breakaway dunk. They fouled him, and he just slammed that SOB home. But anyway, back to Wednesdays. The Smoke Pit coming to you at 8 o'clock Eastern Time with Radar and TZ. Looks like that guy looks like a combination between Bautista and Kurt Angle, who's on the TV right now. All right. Going into Thursdays, and we have the one, the only Sergeant's Time. And I say only because Ice runs that one solo. Hopefully we'll get Spanky back one day. But we're bringing you the latest and greatest that is happening within the Department of Defense, dealing with you, our great audience, the active duty military that is out there, and the veteran community that is out there. We are dealing with the topics that impact your life the greatest. Give us our opinions and let you sound off with your opinions. We wrap up the week every other Friday, and they did not have one on this Friday, so it'll be this upcoming Friday. Another great edition of Friday Night Freedom with Kaz and Pookie. And they're going to wrap up all the news that they find interesting throughout the week, bringing it to you, taking your comments, as well as getting everything going for you, getting you prepared for the weekend. Now, oh yeah, that altitude is definitely hurting the heat right now. Ooh, 44-32, timeout, 7:49 to go. And by the way, this whole time this run's happened, Jokic has been on the bench. That is something right there, man. The Murray is definitely taking control of this game. I'm glad he's getting this going. Denver, you're going to be the most boring champion that the NBA has had since the 2005 Detroit Pistons. But guess what? You're going to be champions here. And you know what? That wraps up the whole week. But it starts back off with us again on Sundays.
That's right. That's right.
8 o'clock or 8:30 or 9 o'clock or whenever the hell King can get his damn computer started.
Yeah. I'll take that blame. I will take that blame. You called the 2005 Pistons the most boring champions. What about the San Antonio Spurs? What was it, 2002 Spurs?
What, the team that beat the New Jersey Nets in the NBA Finals? No,
Yeah.
hold on. No, I'm sorry. 2002.
It was
2002.
I'm sorry, it was
2002 was the
2003.
Lakers. 2003 was the Spurs that went against the Nets in the NBA Finals. No, I will tell you that because 2002 the Nets played the Lakers and they got swept in the NBA Finals. So that was that back-to-back Jason Kidd years where the Nets made the NBA Finals in 2003. I will not say that because I was invested. I'm a New Jersey Nets fan as well as a Knicks fan. I mean, it's not like I hate the Nets even if they moved to Brooklyn. I grew up going to the New Jersey Net games. So they were, even though they weren't my team, I always kind of supported them. And I wasn't going to say that was the most boring one because Tim Robinson, Tim Robinson was on his way, or David Robinson.
David Robinson
Now. Sorry,
that was his last year.
David Robinson was one of my favorite players, and he was going to be retiring at the end of the season, or it was all signs pointing to it. Tim Duncan at that point was already won the MVP over Jason Kidd for that season, and it was just going to be something where where I kind of not going to say I enjoyed it, but I do say San Antonio had a great team that year. So I actually put them up a little bit higher than that 2005 Detroit Pistons. Now, I'm going to say this, too. Nobody was invested in the 2005 Detroit Pistons as a champion. Nobody even remembers they won the championship. That's what's going to happen when Denver wins a championship. In about 15 years, when we are on U.S. Space Force, WTF moments because they took over the Army, WTF moments after a battle with ICE in 18 years, and we're still doing the damn sports bar. We're going to talk about, hey, remember the night that the Denver won the damn championship and we said we forgot? Hey, did you forget? Yeah, so did I. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I will tell you, this Meg 2, the Trench movie trailer is more interesting than the damn Denver Nuggets being the NBA champions.
Hey man, I want to acknowledge some of the other people that have pulled up as well. We got Philip Shane Fulmer in the building, said roll tide. Hey man, roll tide. I'm from Alabama.
Yeah,
So,
you go ahead. You know that every time you hear that, it always reminds me to tell everybody that drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
You get help for your drug addiction problem. Yelling roll tide is one of the signs and symptoms that you may need help with your drug problem.
Oh, coach, don't do me like that. Now, the only thing that I would say is that if you're from Alabama and you're also an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, if your last name is a Smith, don't marry another Smith because you might be cousins. We got David Cunningham.
Okay, there is more to that joke than that one from Alabama people. Woo!
Well, funny story. So my last name is Smith. Smith is a pretty common last name.
Yes.
Well, my mom's maiden name was a Smith. So she was a Smith and married a Smith. Now, my dad's not from Alabama. He's from North Carolina. But still, if you hear that a Smith got married in Alabama to another Smith, you might assume some ancestral things going on.
Did you say ancestral or ancestral?
I meant to say ancestral.
Okay.
Hey.
I was about to, no, because when you said ancestral, I'm like, wait a minute, is this Wakandan or anyway or something like
that? Pete said, I just realized Coach loved the talks. It might be the edibles kicking in already. I'm just
might be.
Charles said that it is very common. Yes, it is. Yes,
It's
it is.
starting to get there, though. I will tell you that, King.
Nice. Nice. Well, hey, coach, you know what we like to do here at the sports bar. I like to throw a trivia question to you and the audience as well. So we're going to kick off with our trivia question for today. And then I'm going to ask you about the motorsports and give us a motorsports wrap up. So on this day in sports, and I hated to go back this far, but it was the only one that I thought was kind of relevant. In 1974, the NFL grants a franchise license to what current team in the NFL? And I'll narrow it down for you. It's on the West Coast. In 1974, the NFL grants a franchise to what current NFL team on the West Coast? Do 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 do.
I know this. I'm going to type this to you so that this way we can see if anybody else puts it in the chat. Okay?
Okay, he is going to send it to me in the back chat. Are you going to put it in the back chat? All right, we got one answer. David Cunningham. Okay, David Cunningham said the Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and put kind of if other watchers are putting answers, I'm going to type up what they put up here. David Cunningham said the Chargers. Let's see who else we got. Does anybody want to take a guess? No Googling.
My net's going a little.
No Googling. In 1974, the NFL grants a franchise to what current NFL team on the West Coast? On the West Coast. If you narrow it down by the year, it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. Where did you send your answer to, Coach? I'm going to fill in space because I don't know if it's his internet or mine. But let's see. It's looking like the internet's is good over here. But I haven't heard from Coach in a minute. Maybe the edibles had him like this already. Oh, yep. Coach got booted. He'll be back. Him typing in his name knocked him offline. All right. Do we have one more person before we reveal the answer? I'm going to give Coach time to come back into the backstage as well. David Cunningham said the Chargers. Are they still in San Diego? The San Diego Chargers? Let's see. Charles said, my second wife and current wife, who did not know each other, turned out to be distant cousins. Yo, what a small world. What a small world indeed. Coach is back. And he said that they were both Smiths. Yep. Hey, that's a very common last name, but even such, that's still a small world. Charles said he thinks that the edibles kicked in and it knocked Coach offline.
Yeah, that's exactly what knocked it off. No, I don't know what the heck was happening. You know, King, I was actually going to sing this song for what my guess was.
Okay.
Okay, because back in that, no, wait a minute, hold on. No, I take that back. I'm going to have to say it was the Seattle Seahawks. I was going to say the San Diego Chargers, but they were part of the AFL.
Okay. So your deduction or deducive, what's that word? I graduated high school from Alabama. Your deductive reasonings.
My deductive reasonings, yes.
To have a correct answer. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, no shit.
David Cunningham said the Chargers, which I thought so too. But you and my man Kaz are correct. The Seattle Seahawks, which the year would kind of helped get you to that answer if you follow sports. But yep, 1974, the NFL granted a franchise to the Seattle Sea Chickens.
And all right. Well, no, hey, Charles, the Rams actually were first in St. Louis, then moved out to Los Angeles. And well, actually, no, I take that back. The Rams were an AFL team that got absorbed up with the AFL NFL merger, because then the Rams ended up making I think like one of the mid '70s Super Bowls, so they were part of the merger along with San Diego and I believe Denver. And I'm starting to go off the West Coast teams because I also think at that time St. Louis had the Phoenix Cardinals and the Cardinals were still in Phoenix at that time. LA was still around there, and that's where my deductive reasoning is coming in because the 49ers still would have been there, and the Raiders were in Oakland at that time.
All right. Yep. David
Damn.
Cunningham said, hey, coaches own it. David Cunningham said, I said California. My bad. I meant to say West Coast. I didn't mean to narrow it down to a state.
Yeah.
I meant to narrow it down to a region. I don't recall seeing California, but sometimes, this big old
and let's be honest, they did a good thing over there with Seattle, because then right after that, that's when the Supersonics came into the NBA. The Texans, I believe they were the Dallas Texans, ended up moving to Seattle and became the Seattle Mariners. It was part of that whole expansion up there to the Pacific Northwest. That's when Seattle first came onto the scene as a good place to get franchises and then lose basketball teams.
There you go.
That one still stings. In Seattle.
David Cunningham asked a good question, and he said, are we going to talk about Ja's upcoming suspension? Yes. So I actually I have a folder. Dedicated to this because I saw a couple of different things between past NBA players and kind of like gun culture, and then current climate stuff with what Ja did. And I want to have a segment about that specifically. So it won't be on this live stream because I want to have the visuals and throw some things up to kind of paint a picture. And you know what?
And I agree with you. I think the focus right now, we should, because we're in the finals and they're going to need as much help as possible for us to remember it, should be Miami and Denver.
Yep. I said that I was going to have a call-in show on the last Sunday of the month, but let's make next week a call-in show because I think that I think that specific topic would have some pretty good engagement. So David, if you have the availability, call in next week. We're going to open up the lines and have people call in to chime in on what they think about Ja Morant's upcoming suspension. I think that'll be a good segment for people. So yes, we're going to talk about
definitely, and everybody call in because talking for us for 2 hours, I can do it, but nobody wants to hear that shit.
Hey, but you know what people do want to hear? What's your thoughts on Julius Randle, Coach? Let the people know. What are your thoughts on Julius Randle?
He's still in New York, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Because my opinion of him has not changed in 2 weeks.
Nothing else to add?
No. There is something. There is something else to add. But the moment I do that, that's when you're going to know the edible kicked in.
All right.
Oh, airball. I haven't seen one of them in a while.
Hey, Coach. So last Sunday specifically, was known as the greatest day in motorsports. Tell us what you saw.
All right. So if you did check out last week's F1 race and what's it called, and the IndyCar race, you saw pretty much the stereotypical types of races that you come to accustomed to if you're a regular viewer. The Grand Prix of Monaco, the fastest car out there on the field was Max Verstappen. He pulled off one of the best qualifications one of the best qualification rounds that you can on the historic circuits of Monaco. And basically, once that starting position is set, it is so difficult to overtake on that narrow circuit that you're not going to be able to pass anybody unless somebody messes up inside the pit lane and has a bad strategy, or weather comes in and the whole field gets affected due to crashes. Well, even though the weather came in a little bit and played a little bit towards the end, Max Verstappen was the fastest car out there by a landslide. Magic Alonso, he came in second, and Esteban Ocon became the the sixth person to get on the podium in Formula One this year, but the first Frenchman to do so since like 1992 or something like that. It's been a while since a Frenchman's been on the Monaco podium. But that was last week's thing, and I'll come up a little bit because I did just watch the Grand Prix of Spain this morning, the other Formula One race. But then the Indianapolis 500 came on around noon, and watching it, I've been watching IndyCar now for a little bit more than 2 years. Ever since COVID started, I really got into a lot of the motorsport racing, and watching the IndyCar is kind of reminding me back in the 80s when you had those big names like Andretti and Al Unser and the AJ Foyts and the Marco and Mario Andretti and then their kids and all that stuff. It was those big kind of racers that you see, and that's how the action that you remember is the glory days. But if you're watching, if you knew the IndyCar back in those days, and you start looking at today's product, you might not know the names, and the names are not as historic as those names that I mentioned, but the action is as good, if not better. And last week's Indianapolis 500, people going around at 225 miles an hour. Some phenomenal, crashes that occurred. One of them, somebody got basically catapulted and their tire took off right around turn 2. It flew over the freaking stands and hit a woman's car. I am not kidding
I saw
you.
that.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yes.
That was at the
Instagram.
that was the lady at the Indy 500 car accident. Gosh, and her name is absolutely hysterical. By the way, it was Kirkwood who had the accident, and it didn't matter whether that car was tethered or not. But let me get this woman's name. Okay, because this woman, I'm trying to figure out this actual woman's name. She's been in the news too. It's a funny woman. Okay, all right. Her name, Robin Matthews, and her car's name. I wish I'm kidding. Actually, had a car nickname. It was named Snowball.
Yeah.
And this woman's been coming. This woman's been coming to the daggone Indy 500 for several years. And if you would see what she was dressed like a checkered flag. She had the white and black boxes, all over her dress, and they took her down. She that was her dress, and they took her down to the brickyard, the yard of bricks at the Indianapolis 500 at the end of the to kiss the bricks, just like the winner did. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that one, but yeah, that Indy 500 has been going real well, and Indy is with the way that they're going right now. They just raced today at the streets of Detroit, and to tell everybody about the streets of Detroit, they actually blocked off a whole section on the river close to the GM towers to make a Grand Prix race, and they've been racing all weekend. Different leagues have been racing over there, and Indy just finished up the Grand Prix of Detroit today. Good news and bad news. The good news was, somebody's at my doorbell. Great. The good news about it was that there was no shootings, and none of the buildings that were around there collapsed and decayed due to the massive rust. So it was successful in that part. But the other part is that they actually raced on the actual streets of Detroit, and my God, Detroit has got some terrible roads, man. They need all those people that are paving over in I-95 in DC, Pennsylvania, and daggone North Carolina, and all this stuff. They need to go up to Detroit. Every single one of the construction companies need to go up to Detroit and fix their daggone roads, because their roads have to be they're as bad as Camden, New Jersey roads. That's how bad it is. It's not good.
Camden got some roads.
Yeah, they do. And we have just gotten to the half. They are showing Jokic getting off the floor right now. Denver has come back this second quarter. Jokic just had a very nice couple passes and plays that I missed. And obviously Murray's with his and one coming up. And Denver goes into halftime leading 57-51 over Miami.
Man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a little bit
Oh,
salty.
okay. I have to give the O now because they just showed the 1970 New York Knicks championship team on one of the outros for the basketball game for the finals.
Oh, was
Showing
Julius Randle
that
born
was
there?
that was oh God. That was no, I wasn't there. My father actually went to that championship. He was 15 and he went to Madison Square Garden to go see him play that year. But Walt Clyde Frazier, they had Senator Bill Bradley was on the team. Phil Jackson was a role player on the team. Dave DeBuscher.
Wow.
Hold on. Yeah, that was like when you talked about the 1970 Knicks, that is what every basketball fan says are the absolute team. Like the ultimate example of what when you play team basketball, what it actually looks like within the what's it called within the NBA and how you are supposed to play basketball was that 1969 1970 New York Knicks. And it comes out at the end of the game. Now, the moment for that was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And I haven't said his name yet, but he passed away this year. That was Willis Reed. Willis Reed missed Game 6 because he tore his hamstring. Didn't know if he was coming out onto the court. And, Wilt Chamberlain just killed them in Game 6 of the 1970 NBA Finals. Killed them without Willis Reed out there on the floor. So Game 7, about 3 minutes before they're tipping off, Willis Reed comes limping out of the tunnels onto Madison Square Garden, and the garden erupted. It was like the gladiator coming out to the ring to defeat the enemy. Man, the entire garden erupted. Willis loses the tip off, but the first two possessions Nick has, Willis hits two outside jumpers. Knicks are up 4-0. They call timeout, and they had Los Angeles completely beat for the rest of the game. And then the Knicks won their first championship that night.
You know who else plays for the Knicks? Julius Randle. Who just had successful ankle surgery, may I add. Just want to point that out, Coach. No particular reason. None at all.
You know what? Hey, I'm doing a shout out to a fellow host, okay? TZ, I want you to call Julius Randle for me and explain to him what happens after a hysterectomy, because that's what Julius Randle should also be in the hospital for.
Shout out to TZ. I hope she is recovering.
Now you can know when it's hidden.
I hope she is recovering well from her major surgery. Coach, man, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. So as y'all know, I do daily fantasy sports. I've talked about it if you watch the show often. And I did 5 lineups for tonight's showdown over on DraftKings. Hey, DraftKings, if y'all want to sponsor us, hit us up. All right. But I did 5 lineups today, and I'm trying to see if I can pull it up and show it here. But it's so interesting, right? So in a showdown lineup, you pick the best 6 people where one guy is listed as the captain. So everybody has their own salaries.
Yeah.
You have to get 6 people on your team within a 60,000 salary range. And whoever's listed as the captain, if you use them, they get 1.5 times the points that they earn in that match, but also they cost 1.5 times more as well. So as you can imagine, somebody like Jokic, who will easily do a triple-double, costs more than somebody like Kevin Love, who barely sees 16 minutes in a game. Well, I have a lineup that if I picked a different captain who costs a little bit cheaper than who I currently have in the captain spot at Kyle Lowry. If I
Oh,
would put Stress in at captain, I'd be winning $841 right now. My other five players are the same. I chose to pick a cheap captain so I could get more stars in that lineup. And that is the difference between me winning no money and $847 right now. So I'm a little bit salty, man. Now, there's
but,
obviously a whole
but
second
you know
half and
that's a
things
good
can
equalizer,
change.
though, man. But that's a good equalizer.
You
All right,
know,
I can say that brings some intrigue to it because my always default thing would be to get that one superstar. Like, I'm talking about like the guy who is the best player on the court. So
mhm.
if I'm putting money up against it, that goes against a lot of my different. That goes against a lot of my thinking. So I wouldn't be hesitant on having Jokic, who, if you even put Jokic in right now or you said putting the other guy in as captain, I would have picked Jokic as number one and would have put him as my captain, and then I would have bet on that, even with that being him being the best player. But that's an intriguing way that the guys who did not put a great scorer like Jokic as their captain, but got other people, got Jokic as like the second or something like that, or Murray as the second. That's a very intriguing way to play the game now. And that's a good betting type of thing, man. I kind of like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a segment on daily fantasy sports. I do a lot of daily fantasy sports. I've had varying success at it. I've placed first in a couple of different large field tournaments, which, it's kind of like a lottery. You have to really get lucky because there are people that are mass entering a lot of these big tournaments where they're putting 150 lineups in at $20 a pop. King Smith don't have that kind of money. I will put two lineups in at $20 a pop and hope that it hits. But there's some lineup construction things that you can think about. Obviously, sometimes you don't even really have to know the sport. You just have to know how it's scored on DraftKings or FanDuel. And if you're an analytics person or a numbers person, you can be very successful if you understand stats and know about variance and at least have an idea of like how much time that players get to be able to win. But we are going to have a segment on that on one of our upcoming episodes. I've got that up on the content board, so we are going to have that one day. Let's see, what do we have here? David Cunningham said Julius Randle is hanging out with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard today with their ankles up. Absolutely. David Cunningham said we also the New York Yankees up 2-1
Yeah.
over the Los Angeles Dodgers at the top of the eighth.
Yeah, I'm still
Right.
keeping it here at the halftime right there. Thank you for reminding me that the Yankees were on. Last I saw them, they were down 1-0. They were down 1-0. So
Two storied franchises over there. Coach,
yeah,
let's bring something else up here, man.
what's up, brother?
History has been made in the LPGA. That is the Ladies Pro Golf Association. I'm going to put this up on the screen here.
And no, that L does not usually mean what I was going to think of it as saying too. That'll get us thrown off the air.
So, in her first pro debut, two-time NCAA champion Rose Zhang became the first player to win the LPGA Tour in her pro debut in 72 years. It hasn't been done since 1951 when a lady by the name of Beverly Hansen beat Babe Zaharias, and that is the person's name.
Yes, yes. In fact, I got something to tell you about Babe Zaharias.
So it's the first time since 1951 that has been done. So here at the Sports Bar on WTF Nation Radio, we would like to send a congratulations to Rose Zhang on being the LPGA Tour winner in her pro debut. I don't have my soundboard, so we're going to go.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So you have a Babe Zaharias story, Coach, man. Go ahead and put that on.
No. So, all right, growing up, you kind of remember the Guinness Book of World Records.
Mhm.
All right, so you always saw like they had the sports section towards the end. So when I took a look at it, I would see and I would read through those sports record holders.
Mm-hmm.
Babe Didrikson as Zaharias, the woman that you said that other woman beat upon her debut, is considered to be one of like the greatest women athletes that ever lived. In the same way, like Jim Thorpe is considered one of the best athletes that ever lived, because Babe Didrikson Zaharias, she won 2 gold medals at the Berlin Olympics in track and field, and she was great at basketball and played baseball too. But then she won 10 LPGA major championships. That was like the greatest woman athlete that in the early part of America when professional athletes were coming in. She was like the real deal Holyfield. If you never heard of her, definitely look up everything that she has done. Phenomenal athlete. She actually married she married a professional wrestler just to kind of like be to kind of be more considered that they loved each other, but it was like to consider to kind of legitimize her. She was married to a professional wrestler. Hold on, George Zaharias. Yeah, he was known as the Crying Greek from Cripple Creek.
Man, hey, so
Yeah.
what did they do, man? Tell me that they birth athletic children. It would be a waste if they didn't.
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
That would be a waste.
Yeah, but I don't know if they had. I'm going to see. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to put her in there. I'm going to see if she's got anything for family. No, other than that, it was just what I was talking about with her husband being a pro wrestler, George
All
Harris.
right.
Yeah, I don't see anything about children. Damn.
What could have been?
Hey,
That's just like I was watching a clip of what's that singer's name? Right when I have to think of a name while we're live, I can't think about it. But it's a famous singer, Jennifer Hudson. She has a talk show now, and Russell Wilson was on there recently. And Russell Wilson is one of those guys. It seemed like off the court, he's a cool dude, but on the court, his persona is that of somebody I just don't like. He has this he's an aggressive player, and
Yeah.
I don't have anything against aggressive players, but he's a bit of an asshole, in my opinion, on the court. But off the court, this dude seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
He married somebody that he knew from, like, they had known each other since high school days, and then they linked up and they both went to college together. But she was a ball player as well, and I want to say he's like 6'7", and she looked like she has some height to her as well. And there's always the joke of, like, if you're a tall lady, you marry a tall dude so that y'all could keep the Division I babies going. Keep that lineage happening.
Oh wow.
So I was curious if Babe Zaharias and her husband were in the same ilk.
Yeah. No, unfortunately not. And that's another thing. We were talking about this. You're now talking about the kids and all that. Just think about did this in one of our first shows. Those name, image, likeness licenses.
Mhm.
Look at how many of the pro kids now are coming out
Yes.
with being at the top of those lists. They're all pro family types of things like that. So, the athletes breeding newer generations of athletes. It's been around and it wouldn't have been unthought of, but now it's a little bit more modernized.
Man, I'm going to take a break from talking about sports for a second and tell you
Okay.
what I did with Pop Culture Warrior
Yes.
this past Friday.
And wait a minute. I got to say one thing about that just before you do it, because I might not get a chance to do this in reaction. But hey, you guys met my man.
Who is that?
Wrestler.
Winkler, yeah, he was so cool. He was one of the first people
Met
to
the Fonz, man.
grant us an interview. And I'm going to bring up pictures here, but tell the people why you like Henry Winkler while I look
Oh,
to go bring up
all right.
pictures of this past Friday.
Hey, so I will say this. As a Italian American who's been mistaken as a Jewish person, I kind of find it funny that the best representation of an Italian person by a Jewish person, as or on TV that's out there of a typical Italian person stereotype, was done by a Jewish person. Shabbat shalom to all the Jewish community for having the best Italian. Okay, because Arthur Fonzarelli from Happy Days. Oh my God, man, he was like the fucking coolest of the dang on you could ever be. Like, even at the part where apparently he became uncool, was called Jumping the Shark, and he started that up. That's a reference to Arthur Fonzarelli, to Henry Winkler. Man, he was the coolest of anybody in a long time. My mother actually saw him play softball with the Happy Days charity team in like Shea Stadium.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah, so I was there as the videographer standing in for Nemo, right? Who is our social media guy here at WTF Nation Radio. I don't hold a candle to what Nemo does as a producer, a videographer type guy. So I was just like, hey, CQ, Pop Culture Warrior, tell me what to point and I'll film it, right? So it was nice. We ended up going up to Philadelphia for Fan Expo 2023, and there were several people that we were able to interview as press. So we had press passes, and CQ led the charge because there were other people. There's, know what? I'm not going to talk bad about the guy, so I'm not going to say that. But CQ did what he does to help secure several interviews from people that have been and are currently in the spotlight. So Winkler was the first person to say yes, and he gave us a quick interview, 3 questions. It was fantastic. If you're looking at the screen here, you can see what he wore. He was very colorful with what he wore. Everybody else there was very, in a dress. It looked like what they would probably normally wear. And Winkler was there in the most colorful attire out of everybody and gave us the first interview. And if you take a look here, so I'm the guy behind the camera. This guy, David Hayter here, he's the voice of Metal Gear Solid. Fantastic interview. Joe Casada is a guy that you may not know him by his name, right? Unless you are a hardcore Marvel enthusiast. But this guy kind of helped transform Marvel cinematic history. Essentially, he kind of led the change for what they did over there, and he gave a fantastic interview as well. He was one of the longest interviews and the longest speakers. You can hear the passion behind his answers and things as well. And CQ, if you haven't watched any of his interviews over on Pop Culture Warrior Tuesday nights here at WTF Nation Radio, one of the things that I noticed here at Fan Expo, as well as listening to his interviews, you will hear a lot of people go, man, that's a good question. And sometimes they'll say, ooh, I've never been asked that before. Now, other people that do these press interviews and things like that, they might have, like, so CQ has media training, right? But they don't have the same, CQ, he's had media training, may not be the same type of media training. Oh, you know what? Let me stop talking, actually, because the man, the myth, the legend probably said, King is not doing me justice. So I'm going to have to come up here and speak. So, ladies, gentlemen, people of the sports bar, welcome the man himself, CQ of Pop Culture Warrior. Hey man, there is an echo. If you don't mind, maybe putting on some headphones.
I got you.
Or adjusting your microphone because I can hear.
Here we go. Hang on 1 second here. Hopefully that's a little better.
Yes, sir. That is a little better. Let me give you the floor. Coach, I'm going to move you down.
Hey,
You've been demoted. I mean, listen, my ears were burning. I heard nerd talk happening on a Sunday night. I was my nerd senses were tingling. I was like, what's that? I feel a disturbance in the force.
Nerdsense is
Uh,
tingling.
and yeah, so here I am, man. We talking about fanatics, which real quick, I bust a lot of balls and whatnot. I do got to give you a huge thank you, the actual King Smith. You stepped in. I wasn't able to secure our usual guy Nemo. He couldn't make it due to work. I mean, hey, we all got day jobs, but you stepped in the 11th hour, and you swung, and you man, you hung in like a champ. You hung in like a champ, man. It was a long day.
It
It was a
was.
very long day. A lot of driving. We were on our feet pretty much the whole time. I didn't allow you to eat or drink while we were working. I actively prevented you from hydrating throughout this. That's a whole story. But yeah, man, you were phenomenal, man. You did awesome. The video is out now on the Pop Culture Warrior YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pop Culture Warrior. The full video is out. My wife watched it and she went, he did a pretty good job, with the cinematography, getting the shots. She said, like, he didn't linger on things long enough. And I went, babe, the footage is fast forward like 4x, 5x. So he's like zip, 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 zip. I'm like, that he really did linger. I just, we had like 3 hours of footage, and I'm not gonna make a 3 hour long video of us walking around, but all told, it was really good. It came out really great. I'm a little pissed about the audio issue I was having, but I have since remediated. We adjust fire. We got
You wasted no time too. He heard the audio, y'all. So it behind the scenes, he heard the audio when he was doing his edits and was like, I don't like it. And he took a big swing in correcting because he said this will never happen again.
Yep. All new tech, top of the line. Yeah, it's really cool. I've been playing with it all day. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, what's left to say? Everybody was super cool. I put it out there, and you kind of alluded to it in that, like, in the past, I've done things my way, and I'm guilty of doing it here at the station. And if the bosses are listening, they know this, and that sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. You just, bull in a china shop, and then, let the cards fall where they may. And it's usually worked out for me. And this was one of the first times, we had press credentials. I had been chatting with the PR guy, and he's like, hey man, I'm gonna get you to their booths. I'm gonna, we're gonna do handshake deals. We're gonna get interviews and things. And needless to say, it didn't work out the way that it was promoted it would work out. And after we were like there 3 hours and just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I just said, you know what? CQ hat going on, and like, I'm just gonna do me. I'm gonna do what I do. I said, just stay on my hip, and you were like right there, gunner seat. And we made shit happen, man. Had we hit it from the very get-go, we would have got a lot more done. But you know what? The growing pains, the learning, this is the first big con of the season. I told you I was rusty. I was just getting my groove back on, and now we're good, man. And we talked for what we got footage wise. We actually talked to so many other people, right? We talked to the Smallville cast. We talked to one of the people from The Flash. We talked to Christopher. We talked to Doc Brown. Doc Brown in the house.
You're fucking kidding me.
I'm not even joking when I say I was 8 inches away when Doc Brown embraced RoboCop Peter Weller. They embraced, and I'm just standing there right on their shoulder, like, this is the greatest day of my life.
This is
Great,
awesome.
great Scott.
I will say, I hope you clip this, because this might be the last time I give King Smith credit. He said something that he made widescreen. He said something that actually surprised me and made me laugh, which is a rarity for King Smith. And I'm gonna put him on blast now. Your private comments about to go public. As Christopher Lloyd was walking away, he just looks at him. He looks over at me. He leans over and he goes, "You could literally see him dying with each step." And I like the initial reaction is like, "How fucking dare you? How dare you?" But once that immediate shock wore off, I was like, "That's fucking funny. That's really fucking. That's so dark, but man, that's funny." I'm like, because the truth is, we're all dying with every step we take. We're all dying. But to say that like you can literally see it happening was pretty damn funny. And I gotta give you kudos, small golf clap for making me laugh on that one. That was actually pretty funny. But no, overall, it was a great show, man. Thank you again. Thank you, really. Now, this is a sports bar. This is your thing. I don't want to take up any more time. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for being an excellent partner in crime. No one else I'd rather have, co-piloting if Nemo's not available. And so we had a great time. We're doing Awesome Con in less than 2 weeks. We've got Contropolis in New Jersey a couple weeks after that. We've already got our press passes to New York Comic Con, baby. Woo! Oh, that is the Mecca. Oh, baby. Oh, I like the only step above from that is going to San Diego Comic Con. So you heard it here first. It's coming. It might not be this year, might not even be next year. But Pop Culture Warrior will have press passes to San Diego Comic Con in the future, repping the old WTF Nation Radio. And obviously, this man's got no filter. You know this. But boys, keep it up. Keep doing what you do. You guys are awesome. Love tuning in, watching what you do, and just wanted to pop in and say hey.
Hey man, I appreciate you coming on. Grooming and reviews. I got Pete over there said, CQ's gonna take over the show. Goodbye, King.
You know it. Actually, shout out. I found this podcast. What a great idea. I'm actually going to reach out to them and talk to them. The whole premise of their podcast is these two dudes, they steal other people's podcast. So every episode is them. They watch, they review, and then they imitate. And what they say is we imitate it and then we do it better. So I want to put them on the spot. I'm going to challenge them. We're going to link it. And it's all in fun. It's all in collaboration. It's all, above board. But I'm like, oh God, I'd love to see someone else do Pop Culture Warrior. Oh, to be in the cheap seats for that one. So I just found that earlier today. So yeah, I'm tuned in soon. We're gonna figure that out. See what happens. But
that would be dope.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so David Cunningham said, CQ, we have a lot of military here in San Diego. They will be there. Hey, that's dope. So you know what? CQ, before you go.
Actually, King,
I can see the wheel. I can see the hamsters on the wheels. Yeah. They're just running.
What I'm going to say 2 words, and he's going to know where I'm going with this. So in the realm of pop culture, there is somebody that was in the news recently, and I called him a comedian. He's a social media star. He has done stand-up comedy. But for those of y'all watching and listening and are engaged right now, do not Google this person. But I have a question for you. Do you know who DC Young Fly is? For those of y'all watching now, put it in the chat. Let me know if you've heard of DC Young Fly. Coach, have you heard of DC Young Fly?
No, I've never heard of DC Young Fly.
You've never heard of DC Young Fly. Have you heard of the 85 South Show?
No.
What?
No.
Oh, man. David Cunningham said no. Charles, if you're listening, have you heard of somebody back me up? Michelle can't answer this if she's still watching.
Nope.
Michelle cannot answer this.
See, what Smith thinks that he has like the finger on the pulse. So if he's heard of something, then obviously everyone's heard of it. I'm like, no. That's not how it works, man. That's
Man.
not how it works. Okay.
So-
No, I mean, for fuck's sake, look how many viewers we lost after I started talking about Formula One.
So Charles also said no as well. So DC Young Fly, yeah. Anyway, I won't get into that. But let's just say I also went around Comic-Con and asked that not Comic-Con, Fan
Embarrassed
Expo
himself.
Philly, and
Embarrassed
asked
himself.
question as well. And TQ said if we asked 10 random people that
The majority wouldn't know.
the majority would not know. Now we got up to 8. I started out 0 for 5. But but the last 3 turned it around. Now also this person is of the darker skinned individuals. So when I asked the darker skin, they were quick to go, yeah. You know, and I'm like, yes. So I'm pretty sure if you asked 2 more fairer skinned individuals, the answer would have been no.
Well, Coach said no. We got 3 no's in the chats. I mean, how many times do I got to prove to you that I know more than you? That I'm more in touch with the people than you. You gotta just admit it. Just accept it, man. Just accept it. It's okay.
I sent you that they do have a Netflix special coming up. So like he's not a nobody, right? But then you know, like, too, you know, with Gen Z, the current TikTok stuff, like who they follow. If you throw the name, let me think of somebody.
He's gonna.
Who's the person that played the one actor that was next to Tara Strong? I can't think of his real name right now.
Oh, Dante Brasco.
Dante Brasco. Yes, he's known, right? He like if you see him, you see his faces, you're like, oh yeah. Some of these social media stars, TikTok people, Instagram famous, where they've got millions of followers. You walk through an airport, the young people may know them, but folks that are, you know, born more closer to the late 90s, early 2000s, they aren't going to know who Dante Brasco is.
There's a great.
I know who he is by face.
Yeah.
That's Rufio from
Rufio from back in the day.
Holy shit.
He's actually gotten a lot more popular too recently, just because he's big on social media and he's got a big TikTok presence. But anyway, that last thing, I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time, but it reminds me of. So I went to TwitchCon once. I went to TwitchCon, and obviously everybody there is like everyone there is fucking royalty. Right? People are losing. It's XOXO1Y. Oh, fuck. Like, people are losing their shit. And then the minute they walk out those doors, they are fucking nobody. It's hilarious to watch. You know, like now there's a guy like Dr. Disrespect who stands out only because he's like 7.5 feet tall. The dude's a freaking just ginormous person. So he kind of stands out. But like anyone else, there was this kid who had just won like the Call of Duty esports world championships. Like he was a god among the esports community. He was sponsored by all the biggest things. Walks into GameStop. He recorded this. And he with his posse, and he's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm here." And everybody's just like, "The fuck are you?" And you can see him get deflated because like these are his people, right? These are his gaming people. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. I know, like in your circle, you are massively popular, but to the larger swath of humanity, you're a fucking nobody, and it's awesome. The whole point I was at TwitchCon. I was because I was repping some stuff, and a buddy of mine was like a huge Dr. Disrespect fan, and was like scared to walk up to him. Like he was so intimidated. And I'm just like, he's just a guy. He's just a dude who plays video games for a living. And I just walked, like, people were like, you know, like they kind of follow behind and they just want to be in the same area. I just walked up to the guy. I was like, "Hey, man, my buddy wants to take a picture with you." And he's like, "Hey, man, my buddy wants to take a picture of you." And he was just like, "Yeah, sure." And like literally like put his arm on the dude's head and like they took a picture together. I'm like, "There." He's like, "You want one?" I was like, "No, I'm good." Like I'm fucking... Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, see, you got a picture with Dr. Disrespect. Oh shit." I'm fine. I'm good. But yeah, so to your point, I'm sure he's very funny. I'm sure he's got a huge following. He's got a Netflix special. That ain't nothing. I don't got a fucking Netflix special. That means something. but also I think pop culture and this and the realm of celebrity has changed. The whole game has changed because of social media, right? Back in the day, if you weren't on TV or on film, you couldn't claim celebrity, right? But reality TV changed that. TikTok has changed that. All that has changed. So you can get a massive, just a ginormous following without having ever been on a TV screen. You know what I mean? You can have 500, 600,000, a million, 2 million, 5 million. And okay, Mr. Beast, before he was doing interviews and all that stuff, never been on TV, never been on that, but he was millions of views, millions. You'd say he's more popular than some of the daytime soap opera stars,
wide, which is
So,
insane.
yeah. So, the game's changed. The game has totally changed. And for good and for bad. I mean, it is what it is. It's just the new normal. It is what it is. But
You've talked about your show, right? Like what you're trying to get done. Like that's a publicly available thing. Okay, because I didn't want to overstep. I just wanted to be sure. All right.
no, I didn't. I was just kidding.
Hey, look. People watch the Sports Bar. All right. So look, if you're a Netflix execs watch the Sports Bar.
Obviously.
If you're somebody that you're a philanthropist and would be interested in funding a show, hit up Pop Culture Warrior.
King's underselling it now. I worked with an actual TV show creator, a Hollywood guy who's had big hits on TV created. We met in LA when I was doing some events, and we banged out a TV series, an actual series. We wrote it. It's dark but funny. It's emotional. It's the story of a veteran who is pretty much at the end of his line, and through a support group finds himself doing stand-up comedy. So kind of like the show Barry, how it was a hitman, and then he, through his theater group. Now I'm realizing it's kind of like that show. It just clicked. But it's a veteran who, through this support group, and they're all going through stuff. It's a group of them that are going through stuff. And then they basically take this stand-up comedy class, and it changes everything, good and bad. And man, it was gonna be really good. It is really good. It is really, really, really good.
You just need the right person ears to listen or see this and fund that vision. So, hey, look, we're putting this out there because, like I said, YouTube execs and Netflix execs and other people, they watch the Sports Bar. They watch WTF Nation radio stuff. So, look, if y'all are out there, hit him up. He's not hard to find. He's not hard to reach out to. If you're somebody that can make this happen, we think that the impact would be felt and that it would be a good investment of your money. So hit us up. Hit him up.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Here's the thing: one way or another, it's gonna happen. Just whether it's on HBO or on fucking YouTube, it's gonna happen. This thing it's gonna happen. So, and it's gonna make somebody a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. Because when we start winning fucking Emmys and whatever the Grammys, I don't know, whatever the awards are for shitty TV shows. I don't know. But anyway, I'll let you guys get back to your thing. Appreciate you for taking my call.
On Bravo.
Freevee. Isn't that what is the new station? Freevee. We'll put it on Tubi.
Yeah, Freevee's Amazon. Yeah.
So, but anyway,
all
you
right,
guys, awesome. Love you. Love what you're doing. Keep it up, and we'll catch you on the other side.
All right, man. You know what? I'm not gonna have you click. I'm DOS booting you right now. Boom. Ha ha. I beat him. I am such a kid sometimes. Hey, don't give me the power. When you give me the power, I do stuff that lets you know that I have the power. No, but that is CQ. There's a lot of people that watch all of the other shows here, but if you're new to WTF Nation Radio, he does Pop Culture Warrior here at WTF Nation Radio /US Army WTF Moments on Tuesdays at 8:00. He has fantastic stuff, fantastic interview. If you go over to his YouTube channel, so it's YouTube.com/ Pop Culture Warrior. The interviews and things that we did over at Fan Expo is up on his page. It's about a 30-minute video. Go over and check it out. I listened to it on my drive down to where I'm at. So I didn't get 6 people that told me where they were watching the show from, but I'm going ahead and just going to put it out there. I am at the Outer Banks area, North Carolina, on vacation for the next couple of days. And I literally, like I said, this is not an exaggeration. I pulled up, I said hey to the family, and then I found where I was going to be at so that I could come on and do the sports bar. Because look, I like doing this, point blank, period. I like the time that I can get with Coach. For the people that tune in while they're watching the basketball game or whatever sports that they have on and still have us playing on their phones, laptops, or tablets. I appreciate y'all tuning in on Sundays. Y'all could be doing any other thing, yet you are here. So for Ron Dayton, who just pulled up, to Charles, David Cunningham, Pete, Michelle, CQ, Vanessa, everybody that commented. I don't think I missed anybody that may have wrote us something earlier. Kaz, thank you. Thanks for taking y'all Sunday evening with us. And we're going to close out the show. Oh, Ishmael. Yeah, he said, hey, guys, I'm back. Hey, Ishmael, I don't know if you're still here. I got you, boss. I got you. I'd like to tell, thank you to everybody. We're going to go ahead and close up shop today. We're going to have we still were at an hour and 19 minutes. That's what I'm talking about, right? Vacation don't stop the grind over here. Coach, do you have anything to close out the show with, brother?
Well, and now I know one thing after having CQ on is that when I look for the Twitter account, is Christopher Lloyd still alive? I know that you're going to be the one who's running it. You're going to be running that account on Twitter, and every day you're just going to go ahead and say yes until I don't know. But by your account, maybe about 3 more weeks, you're just going to type no and close that account.
I felt bad.
I know that's going to be you on Twitter.
I felt bad after I said it, man. But hey, shout out to Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, him and his people were cool. Everybody that was there at Fan Expo were great. Here at WTF Nation Radio, most of our watchers are military or military affiliated, and a lot of the people that we asked or interviewed, said thank you for our service. I was wearing an Air Force hat because I haven't used Grooming and Reviews over there on YouTube. He actually got me a shaver, and this Thursday I'm going to use the shaver, but I wore a hat because I hadn't had a haircut in a minute and I was looking kind of busted. But it was an Air Force hat, and Philadelphia showed the veterans love up there. Some people don't like Philadelphia. They call Philadelphia Filth-adelphia, but there were several vendors and other Expo patrons that were there that thanked us for our service. And I want to make sure that I give them a salute and say thank you to the actors, actresses, and patrons that thanked us as we walked around Fan Expo doing press stuff. So I want to make sure that I put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Grooming and Review said, what hair? Hey, man, this hairline goes further back and further back by the day. I don't like it. So, what do you have for us, Coach, to close out the show?
I will go to bat for Philadelphia because Philadelphia does have one thing. They have hosted many, and I think they're also going to be doing it this year. The Army-Navy game has been over at the Link for multiple years since I got out of the military. So, bump that. Philadelphia loves us.
Rock on. Well, all right. Hey, this has been another week of the Sports Bar. Tune in next week where we're going to have a call-in show, normally reserved for the last Sunday of the month, but we're going to do it next week because I produce the show and I can do what the funk I want to do. So until next time, like David Cunningham said, welcome home, Vietnam veterans. I don't know if that's a reference to something, but I'm just saying it. All right. We got let's see. Last comment here is Charles Rosignoli said, "Thank you for your service, guys." Charles, thank you as well. I don't know if you served. I probably asked you that before, but I got the memory of a mouse. All right. So to everybody that tuned in, I give a salute. And from Coach and I at the sports bar, we are out. Peace.